know what? They say, yeah, but we're providing relief for these, for these lonely men. They're only lonely because of the sick things that are happening in our society. Porn addiction and now AI women. Dude, you guys don't even want to know what's coming next. But I'll tell you.
Well, we had this issue with AI tots, which of course is what we're going to be talking about here. But we're going to be talking about not only the AI tots, but the fact that OnlyFans girls could in fact be replaced, which of course we kind of warned them about. And we're also going to be talking about the potential effects that it could have on young boys at this moment in time, but also the effects that it's currently having on men now. So make sure you guys stick around for the full video. Well, guys, I guess that OnlyFans models are going to need to find a new line of work here soon, because what I'm showing you right now here in the B-roll footage is downright creepy, but we kind of warned you that this right here was going to be happening. And of course, that right there is the rise of AI and of course the rise of AI women. So this AI model, Lexi, fields a lot of engagement requests, is controlled by another man, meaning that the guys who are interacting with said AI model are actually interacting with a man. Weird. But then again, though, guys, there's also another video that's coming out tomorrow, that's coming out on Saturday to go along with this video here, or at least it's going to be a bit of a follow-up, asking why it is that men are, let's just say, why it is that masculinity is coming back, but not coming back in the way that women actually want it to come back, especially after hearing some of their complaints. But then again, though, given the fact that men nowadays are going online, they're going to their phones, and they're seeing stuff like this right here, you might not blame the company that created these AI tots for, let's just say, creating the AI tots, because obviously it could very, very well be a very profitable business venture for these AI companies.
I'm just going to give it to you straight. If you're looking for a girl who's going to take care of you or cook you dinner or going to provide for you, you're not going to find that here, okay? I don't bring things to the table. You know what I bring? I bring these good looks, this hot body, and an unforgettable personality. But that's about it. Everything else is pretty much up to you. And I like it that way. I'm going to keep it that way. So if you're looking for a girl who's going to bring something to the table, you're not going to find that here, and you might as well.
I actually like you. Like, I literally have said, like, I would sign an NDA and, like, never, like, let people know about our relationship, but, like, I actually like you.
So confirm or deny, are you a pathological liar?
But I'm not a whore anymore. I don't do porn anymore. But I literally said I would stop being a whore for you, and I literally stopped porn.
Listen, you're an attractive woman, but the fact that you've done porn and...
It was a hiccup.
It is 100% a deal breaker. Like,
but I said, I'm sorry, and I literally quit being a thought.
Thank you for your apology.
Make sure I quote this correctly, but this AI thing called Lexi Love is making roughly $30,000 a week, sexting very, very lonely men. Now, guys, it's already bad enough that you've got men out there paying $5.99, $4.99 a month for a subscription to follow one model where they get just good old-fashioned photos, in some cases even literal porn, which is kind of what's being sold here, especially if you just go to Google and you just type it in. More than likely, it'll kind of lead you some things. By the way, I'm not okay with dudes doing that, and I honestly think that you need to get out a little bit more. I think if you sit inside and watch porn all day, after a while, you're going to develop a bit of a problem. And, of course, it could eventually lead to you, let's just say, being forced to, or I wouldn't say being forced to, but you're going to start forcing yourself to find, let's just say, much more extreme versions of said activity for you to even get your endorphins up. But then again, though, like I said before, if you saw the little montage that I had put together there, you'd probably understand why it is that with a nation that at this moment in time has 2/3 of its males below the age of 40 that are single, and yet only 1/3 of women at this moment in time that are in a relationship, you kind of can't blame these people for trying to find the next grift and trying to get some money. So this AI bot, which, by the way, I'm showing you guys some photos of, if you look at it very, very closely, you can obviously tell that this right here is, in fact, AI generated. It's very creepy. And, of course, if you go to your Instagram feed, and I had somebody tell me this the other day, it's already happening there, meaning that the AI phenomenon is obviously happening there. It's obviously happening on Facebook. It's pretty much happening everywhere. It's almost like real women may be replaced. And, of course, there are people out there who would actually go for this sort of thing. Now, I'm not here to pass judgment on men who do. I'm just simply saying you might want to find a brand new hobby, or you might want to go outside. You might want to actually go talk to a real woman before there are no more women left, or the Giga Chads or the regular bros end up taking all the other ones there, and then next thing you know, you're left with your right hand for the rest of your life. Before we go any further, let's let somebody else explain to us the dystopian future that awaits us.
It's like, I don't know what it's called, but I suppose what they argue is the more a person watches porn, the more they have to find extreme versions of it or like more of it to get the same sensation of it. So they get addicted to it. And then what happens is it goes from men and women banging to crazy stuff like swinging from the ceiling fan. And these guys are driven to chase after eventually things that don't exist or are dangerous. You end up with really creepy, awful porn. Like I'm talking about evil, dark stuff like snuff films, but people just get off on crazy, disgusting things. And so now where we're headed is you got young men growing up in a world where by the age of 10 or 11, they have seen the most disgusting things imaginable. Their brains are broken. Regular women are not attractive to them. And so they're not going to procreate or find girlfriends. Or more importantly, outside of all the porn addiction stuff, young men growing up online don't know how to interact with people in the real world, meat space, as we call it. And so they're shy and introverted and they don't find dates. Now they have this feeling inside of them, this longing for companionship. And along comes this woman right here. This is fake. It is AI, but it's easy. She'll tell you how much she loves you. And all you got to do is pay. There's a really great video called...
I'm not so sure about that, because while it does in fact look bad, I don't know, man. I mean, kids nowadays, for some odd reason, and I had to grab a cigarette for this one right here. Kids nowadays, for some odd reason, it seems to me like maybe they have seen so much social media that maybe they have, how do I say this, kind of gotten numb to this. Like, obviously, a 10 or 11-year-old child sees this. They may be at first a little bit, how do I say, skittish of the real thing. They may get trapped into it for a while, but at some point in time, they're going to have to go out and actually experience the real world. But still, the thing is this right here. And I know it's going to sound like I may contradict myself here in a second, but the thing is this right here. The implications that we're seeing at this moment in time is more for now, like what's going on now. Now, beyond the next 5 years or so, I'm not so sure. And I'm pretty sure that after a while, because kids look at so many video games and stuff, which, by the way, kids should not have access to this stuff anyways, I'm not so sure that it's going to be leading them to doing crazy kind of stuff like jumping on walls, and I just don't see that happening at this moment in time. But still, though, if it does, in fact, happen, I'll be back up here probably to eat my words in another video later on. I mean, I understand that you had this thing where you had Pokemon where you were kind of like running around and chasing and stuff. I don't think that's going to be the case here, Tim. But the shyness factor can be overcome if you just teach men to get out of their shell. If you just teach young men to get out of their shell. Now, let me say this really quick. Why do you think that we have these social clubs? Like, why do you think we have stuff like, say, karate practice? Why do you think we have school gyms, things like that there? Why do you think we have that? We have that so that way kids can, in fact, interact. What really needs to happen in this case, though, is that parents need to be, let's just say, a little bit more involved, especially when it comes to little boys. They need to be more involved in getting their kids playing sports and stuff. Trust me, after a while, kids, when they grow up, they will be able to distinguish the real thing from what is fake. A lot of what's happening nowadays is that we're living in an online world where you have a lot of online gamers and stuff. If you actually go and you look at a lot of the online content creators, especially ones that got bigger, that are big right now, a lot of them got big through gaming itself. Now, you could argue that right there has got a lot more to do with the parents leaving them to their own devices. There are some drawbacks to this, but still at the same time, as long as you're teaching kids to actually balance things out, you should eventually be okay. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about the kids really quick before I talk about actual grown men themselves. And I understand that Tim was leading into that, but still at the same time, while it is concerning, it's not exactly something that, quite frankly, is unbreakable. And while that is kind of funny to imagine some of the crazy things that he said, because it would definitely make for good content at a later date, I don't think that's going to happen right now, but I'm definitely a little bit more concerned when it comes to grown men, especially young men ages 18 to 30. But if you just simply get them out of their shells, that's why I'm still very much a big believer in coaching And while I am not a pickup artist type guy or anything like that, I don't typically tend to beat up on the pickup community because a lot of times they are trying to help men out. It's just that the advice that they get online is the same type of advice that they could get in some form of self-help book, because that's really and truly what those people are selling them. Still, though, at the exact same time, you've got to get out of your shell, and you've actually got to get out there and actually talk to women. But still, at the same time, there are reasons why channels like It's Complicated, where a lot of these girls are getting exposed for some of the very crazy stuff that they say. We'll talk more about that on Saturday. That's why those channels exist. But trust me, if you actually go around and ask women and actually socialize, you will be able to break whatever type of curse that these people are trying to throw on you. And that right there appears to be the AI curse at this moment in time. I think this right here speaks to a much, much bigger issue. You see, guys, the video I have coming out on Saturday, and I'm not doing this video right here so much to preview that, but I am going to be doing a few updates at the end of the video. The video that I'm going to be doing on Saturday is a video that, for the most part, is going to be talking about why it is that masculinity is coming back and not in a way that women actually like. What I mean by that is that men are starting to figure out their own value. The only types of men who go for this type of content, meaning the only types of men that go for these AI tots, are really just men that, quite frankly, have no lives and, quite frankly, don't want to have a life. Truth be told is this right here. The minute that internet porn came around, a lot of men began to figure out ways of getting it for free. And when they decided to start getting that type of activity or that type of stuff put in their face, they started to consume that type of content. After a while, their wives, their girlfriends, any potential future prospects eventually went away. Now, you're probably thinking that I'm going a little bit too hard on men here, when in reality, what I'm really and truly doing is I'm going harder on the porn industry itself, putting it online. The truth be told is this right here. Now, me personally, I've never been a connoisseur of it. I've actually been the type of guy, and I'll go ahead and say this, and I know it may get me in trouble, but I am the kind of guy who would much rather be doing it with a woman rather than watching somebody else do it with said partner or another partner. That's just how I am. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. I know that may sound a little bit weird to the very, very few females that watch this content that I'm actually bringing this up. But the thing is this right here. I personally think that something like pornography should be put behind a paywall. Or they should at least come up with something that keeps minors from being able to log in and see it. But that's a different conversation altogether, especially when we start doing videos like how porn affects the mind, how it affects the body, how it affects the spirit, how it affects the soul, things like that there. Of course, we're going much more into a media criticism. Let's just say we're going in a much more media criticism direction, but still at the same time, that would in fact be a part of it, because if you guys pay very, very close attention, a lot of this stuff is being advertised on news sites and, of course, other media sites and other forms of media. This type of thing right here is a danger that, quite frankly, we are going to be experiencing probably for the rest of our days here on this earth, that AI at some point in time is eventually going to take over. However, the thing is this right here. While I have just gone in on the men, now I have to go in on the women. I told the ladies a long time ago that if you choose to do Onlyfans, at some point in time, not only will the photos that you tried to get deleted off the internet, because let's be honest, if you actually look into the Onlyfans revenue stream, the truth be told is the girls are not making that much money. Most of them are not. About 99% of them are not even cracking $1,000 a month to put their bodies online. We told you that at some point in time that you would not make any money, and or then you would turn right back around and have this issue where, let's just go ahead and say that your photos, your videos that you wanted deleted would eventually get leaked to the internet, because there are scammers out there. There are people who screen record on their phone. There are people who screenshot and they put it out there. As a matter of fact, it would not surprise me not one bit if the people who run Instagram, the ones who run these sites where you've got these models or whatnot, these very, very hot chicks who model, who are probably still airbrushed to a certain extent, it would not surprise me if they're not taking the photos off their OnlyFans page and then posting it to Instagram going under a different name. It would not shock me not one single bit, but then again, at the same time, lawsuits do in fact exist, and I don't even know if these girls know that this right here has been going on. Some of them probably do, some of them probably don't, some of them are blissfully unaware, and some of them probably don't even care. But the fact of the matter is this right here. After a while, these men are just not going to approach women at all, which is kind of sad in a way, because as I mentioned before, even though 2/3 of men right now are not getting laid and are single, and there's only 1/3 of, there's 2/3 of women that are not, women still outrank the men in this world. They just do. There are lots of women out there. You need to get you actually need to get out there and own your craft. Not only do you need to own your craft, but you also at the exact same time need to actually talk to women. You need to actually practice, and you need to find a way to self-improve. Sitting around all the time talking to AI tots and looking at OnlyFans photos is only going to rot your brain. It's going to kill your overall serotonin levels, and it's going to make you desire a lot more, and in some cases, things that, quite frankly, are not achievable, nor are they realistic. Porn rots the brain, it rots the mind, it rots the soul. So does OnlyFans too. And to the OnlyFans girls out there who are not making any money and are being forced to go back to the workplace, I got to ask you a question. Are you sure that you're okay being in an industry where you're not making the money that you think you're making, and then now you're about to find that you could very, very well be replaced by something that, quite frankly, is artificial? I'm just asking. Very, very logical question. Please leave a comment in the comment section on that. I really, truly love to hear what you have to say. But now that artificial intelligence has officially gotten involved, it kind of makes you on the cusp of being obsolete. Which makes me wonder what's going to happen when you do have to quit OnlyFans or you have been replaced. You see, guys, the thing that really bothers me, and I had a project planned last year, and I was never able to get to it because obviously I'm still learning how to do my editing software, which of course is Adobe. I wanted to do a project on the crisis in men because there is, in fact, an actual incoming crisis that involves men. You've got a lot of people out there, a lot of guys who are not wanting to join the military because of the social justice warring. Even though the unemployment rate is 3.7%, you've got this other problem where it is that people are only getting anywhere between maybe 10 to 20 hours a week, and they're being forced to work a second job. That right there, by the way, is the real reason why the unemployment rate is so low. And of course, people after a while are going to need a third job. You got to put in that time to get those additional hours to get that additional cash. Because let's be honest, $15 an hour is just not paying for things like it used to be, especially when you're only getting about $15 to $20 an hour, which, by the way, is eventually going to affect your market as well, especially if you are an OnlyFans girl, because after a while, he's going to have to choose between his subscription and something to eat. It's starting to get that way. That right there may be one of the reasons why it is that they're going to AI-generated girls, because they're probably cheaper altogether. $30,000 a month. $30,000 a month just to do sexting or basic texting, whatever needs are made. Which, by the way, those text messages are coming from another man. Not coming from a girl behind the screen. It's coming from another guy. Fact of the matter is this right here. The ladies in OnlyFans, they are being replaced with AI tots, and the men who are going after this AI nonsense, they're lost with no direction, and quite frankly, it's kind of sick. And next thing you know, you're going to have yourself a bunch of lonely men that, quite frankly, are eventually going to be angry and frustrated because they're very, very much sexually oppressed, or they're going to feel that way, even though, for the most part, they did it to themselves. It's part of the reason why it is I've considered changing the name of this channel to disassociative indifference, which of course I don't know if I'm going to or not, but please let me know in the comment section how you feel about that, especially those of you who are subscribed to me. If you'd like me to do that, of course, it would actually help out with the actual algorithm itself. It would help me out with the search engine. But the fact of the matter is this right here. What's going on right now is that the OnlyFans girls are in fact being replaced, and the men out there are simply paying extra money for something that, quite frankly, is not real. I mean, it makes me wonder where we are at right now in our society, to where we are now officially relying upon AI-generated women. But then again, though, at the same time, though, there are some real women out there that, quite frankly, may not be worth our time. We'll be talking about her a little bit in Saturday's video, but let me just go ahead and kind of throw this out here, because there's always these videos out there that, quite frankly, just bring a smile to my face and bring a smile to yours. Let's watch Mia Khalifa get roasted again.
Nothing to do with the adult industry, and I was just very dejected and embarrassed and felt like they would never want to work with me again.
That must have been really...
And I get come up to by this guy and his girlfriend, and we were interrupted in the middle of talking and eating, and he said, "Hey, Mia Khalifa, can I get a picture with you?" And I looked up at him and I'm like, "No, we're eating." And I said it just like that. Like it was a rude way, but it was also very rude for him to come up while someone was actively in the middle of a conversation. And after I said that, his girlfriend, who was standing next to him, grabbed him by the arm and said, "I told you that wasn't her. There's not enough on her face. Let's go, babe."
Off the bat, I'm kind of concerned why it is that guy knows who she is, but why it is that guy's girlfriend also had the comeback that she did. And while it was absolutely hilarious, and it's funny to hear that Mia Khalifa burst into tears and started crying, oh, good bitch, yeah, it was obviously funny and pretty daggone entertaining, but I wonder how long that guy's relationship lasted. Fact of the matter is this right here. Men are turning to this right here, not because the women out there don't really have anything to offer, because a lot of the men out there are not going out there and not putting themselves out there to find out what the women don't have to offer them. The fact of the matter is simply this right here. A lot of these very, very lonely men out there are not even trying anymore. And I think we all know the real reason why. We will cover that more so in Saturday's video, which, by the way, I'll probably go ahead and make. But the thing is this right here. This right here is a problem that's probably only going to get worse. However, the night is always the darkest before the dawn. So it's very, very possible that it could just get worse before it gets better. Maybe these men right here will wake up. Maybe the women will wake up and stop posting to Onlyfans. I mean, after a while, you're going to have a bunch of women out there with old Onlyfans accounts that they try to get scrubbed from the internet. And maybe they might be able to find a guy who, quite frankly, doesn't care. I doubt that's going to be the case. But still, at the same time, as you guys can see, this AI bot crap is obviously going to be affecting both sexes going forward. And with that right there being said, guys, I want to give you guys a couple of quick updates before we shut down this video. The updates that I'm going to be giving you guys are just going to be letting you know that, of course, the new types of content, like the video essay type content, is going to be phased in a little bit more over the course of the next week. For example, there's a video that I actually was about to post, but I decided to pull back on it. It was a video on, is it an okay idea to attack your political opponent's voters? It was after the whole Jamie Dimon situation on CNBC the other day gave me an idea. I actually made the video and then realized it was just a little bit too long and a little bit too long-winded. So therefore, I chose to kind of pull that one. I'm going to be reposting that one back on Monday. What you would see is you would see a video like that, and then for the time being, you would see probably another normal type video that I'm doing, kind of like this one here, or maybe a video on like the topic of the day, what's going on with the immigration crisis, crime, things like that right there. So you're probably going to see me go ahead and kind of slowly drift into that. Of course, still attacking wokeness, of course, and if there's any pop culture, anything like that right there too as well. It's just kind of like the topic of the day at the time. But the thing is that it allows me to be able to actually transition into the full essay content before the end of the year as well, which, by the way, I want to go ahead and start this coming month. This right being towards the end of the month of January, and of course, going into the month of February. And of course, going to rehash some of this again on Saturday with the video that's coming out. There was another video that was scheduled to come out on Sunday called What is a Plant? I have got the clips for that, but I'm not entirely sure I'm going to throw that one out there just yet because let's just say that it makes for a good Sunday conversation, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But make sure you guys stick around for all of that too. With that right there being said, just know that the new content's being phased in slowly but surely. You'll probably notice it with certain videos. But with that right there being said, I'm going to go ahead and halt this video now. So make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section. Please tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later.